Hi, and welcome to the NBA. Hi, and welcome to the NBA Carousel, usually hosted by the Queen of Hoops, Miss Megan Price. But I am Jennifer Lewis, filling in for her this evening. And to get the show started, I want to go ahead and bring in our Suns rep, Mr. Jordan Long at Sports Group One. Hey, Jordan, how's it going?
A little bittersweet. It's my last show, considering the Suns kind of blew it yesterday.
Yeah, there's a little smack talk too. Did you hear that between Beverly Patrick and CP3?
A little bit of it, but that's what happens when you lose. You're gonna have that. If they would have won, it would have been a different story.
Exactly. So tell me, what are your takeaways? What do you think they could do better next season?
Well, the one thing I have a question about, and I talked about this in our first show way in what was it, October, November, was the DeAndre Ayton contract situation.
Hmm.
He didn't get paid. Now, will he get paid? Maybe. He's a restricted free agent. He wants a long-term contract to stay in Phoenix. I know if they don't resign him, well, what is that going to mean? It means I they're going to have to go with another center. Could that be JaVale McGee? McGee is also a free agent, and I thought he played really well for the Suns. Maybe not yesterday, as the whole team kind of imploded, but in general, I would really like to see them to keep JaVale McGee. If not, you're going to have to go into free agency to get another center. And I don't know who's out there available, but if they don't sign DeAndre Ayton, that really hurts down low, especially what he can do in terms of shot blocking and rebounding and boxing out.
Yeah. Oh, when do you think the contract negotiations will be finalized? Are they even
Honest,
talking right now?
they are not talking. The only good thing is he's a restricted free agent. So if a team really wants to get the ball rolling on trying to get DeAndre Ayton, they can sign him to a contract, obviously, once the season is up. And then obviously the Suns have to match it. They'll have 15, or 2 weeks to do so if they really want to keep him. I'm just not sure how happy DeAndre Ayton really is in Phoenix. We saw the whole, spat yesterday where he only played 17 minutes. That's really going to hurt him and his stock going into free agency. Luckily, he's a restricted free agent, so it's really in the Suns' court if they want to keep him. It's just a matter of talking and getting a contract done. Would I want to see him in Phoenix for long term? I would. I think he's been very successful. Of course, Game 7 was not, and I just wonder if they're going to look at that as a character issue. But of course, the Suns in general didn't play very well, so there was a lot of frustration going towards Monte Williams with DeAndre Ayton since he only played 17 minutes. So I just wonder if the frustration is going to say, oh, I want to go somewhere else, or will it be, you know what, this is my best chance to win a ring. I like what we have with Chris Paul and Devin Booker, as well as Shamit and Cameron Johnson. Is it good enough to win a ring here? I would have to say yes. So I think the fact that he wants to win a ring, that may end up helping him stay in Phoenix.
Yeah, but I was reading some stats, and I think it's five playoffs Chris Paul has blown when
That
they've
is,
had the lead.
yeah, that is
So
correct.
what's his story there? Do you think he's just getting stage fright? I mean, he's been in the league long enough. He shouldn't be getting stage fright. Where say he stays and he has six going, goes again to the playoffs. Does he blow it again?
That's the one question I can't answer right now. But if you look at his history, you're right. He has blown series when he's ahead 2-0. But the thing is,
Hmm.
it's not just him; it's all of his teammates. Although he didn't show up in game 6 or 7, I know in game 7 he didn't have his first field goal until the third quarter. So you have to wonder how much is it wearing that he's 17 years in, he's 37 years old. How much does that weigh? Could it be father time catching up to him? He says he's not retiring, but what's going to happen next year? Let's say the Suns. I'm hoping they go to the NBA Finals, but even the Western Conference Finals, and they're ahead 2-0, they blow it again. Will
Hmm.
he want to stay on? Because I mean, he wants a ring, but if he's just chasing a ring, I don't know if he's going to get it in Phoenix as of this moment because of the fact that he's blown a bunch of 2-0 series lead. I understand that's not all him, but it's on his record, and I know that's not going to hurt his resume to get
Well,
into that small Hall of Fame.
And it stinks because you're right. It's not just one player, it's an entire team. And, but one player gets the blame for it. Look at your James Hardens. Look at your David Carrs in football. Look at your, everybody, anybody, how much crap Eli Manning took. You get the same grief with Kemba. Like when Kemba was with the Hornets, could totally be told that he deserved a ring. But that didn't happen. So what do you think the next steps are? Where would you like to see? What pieces do you see that are missing? And then tell me adversely, what did the Mavs do that were so much better? Because I'm looking at the points leaders and I see a lot that they did better. So
if you dive into the stats, yeah, they were the better team for sure. But if you look at it, and I've talked to Megan about this, is they need a perimeter defender. They could not stop Spencer Dinwiddie. They couldn't stop Luka Doncic. But then if you look at the Suns, what they did, they turned the ball over. You cannot do that in a game game 7. And it just seemed like last night they, let the Mavericks go ahead. They got it within 7, and then by halftime, it was a 30-point lead. They scored 10 points in the second quarter. That's not what you want to see in a game 7. I'm in Phoenix right now, just visiting, and I can tell you, when I was heading back, I went to a Cubs game. When I was heading back to the car from the game, I saw these Suns fans, and you're excited for game 7, hosting it. These fans were not excited. It was nervousness, and that's because of what Dallas had done in game 6, and you could say in games 3 and 4 because of their defensive play. They just basically played better defense. They played better man-to-man, and honestly, the Suns had no answer for them. So if you're looking at the offseason, you've got to find somebody that can defend the three-point line and maybe get someone to help your front court, really.
Right. Oh, and my thing is, Phoenix doesn't necessarily have a reputation of having the most solid fan base across their teams. Because I remember when the Panthers played the Cardinals in a playoff game, we obliterated them. And there was a joke because no one came out to meet them. So the joke was not even their wives or mistresses or second mistresses were there to meet the players. Like, that was pretty funny. So, I mean, do you think it would help more if the fan base was more engaged?
I would say so. I mean, I know there were a bunch of empty seats last night going into a game 7, but if it's a game 7, I would have paid money to go. I mean, you want your fans to be there. You want to have that home crowd to get you going. And it just seemed like the fact that, yes, they packed the building, but they weren't 100%. Maybe that had a little bit to do with it. But you want your home crowd to get you going. And obviously it didn't happen last night. So, yeah, I think the fact of the matter is they need to pack that building. You're going to have a solid team. Even with, Devin Booker and Chris Paul, one is a superstar, one's becoming a superstar. So, yeah, I would think that you would really want to support that team. And honestly, Phoenix doesn't really do a great job of supporting their teams, unfortunately.
They really don't. I think they're just too hot.
You're telling me. It's the whole time I've been here, it's been in the hundreds. But then again, what else is there to do in Phoenix when it's, 100 degrees? I mean, I went to a baseball game, but I'd much rather have gone to a basketball game if I was a Phoenix Suns fan. Again, you had game 7 at home.
I bet you could have gotten some cheap seats from some ticket scalpers.
Probably.
Yeah, because honestly, the highest assist on the team from the Suns did come from Chris Paul in game 7, and that was only 4.
Yep. And that just shows you how great a defense that the Mavericks actually played. And I think they had 31 points from the entire starting offense or starters from the Suns. That's just unacceptable.
Completely. Yeah, their high quarter was the fourth quarter where they scored 40 points. And the fourth quarter they totally outscored the Mavs, but it wasn't enough because they were being beat 3-1. Essentially second quarter, I'm doing this all mixed up. First quarter was 27-17, second quarter 30-10, third quarter 35-23. That's not acceptable behavior. And I'm sorry, but Hate to say behavior, but that's what it is.
Well, it was. I mean, I can't imagine buying a ticket there and seeing that on the floor.
Hmm.
Again, I mean, you can't have 10 points in a quarter. It's just unacceptable, especially in a game seven.
Oh,
Maybe in a regular season game, that's fine. But
maybe.
especially in a game seven, I even heard Stephen A. Smith just said they completely choked. The Suns choked. And honestly, they did. I know in the first quarter, they got it within seven. I thought, okay, maybe it's the comeback train, and then just fell apart. And
Yeah.
it just looked like Jason Kidd, and I've talked to Megan about this, just did a marvelous job of adjustments because they were getting no production other than Luca in the first two games, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There was a more production, and they stopped Chris Paul. They didn't let him get going. Stopped Devin Booker, and that's all you have to do. And that's the key to beating the Suns is stop those two guys, and you're fine.
Yeah. I mean, Jason Kidd's a great coach. I was actually pretty amped when he was in conversations to come to the Celtics last year. But I'm pretty happy where we are too. So,
No,
but yeah,
you
it's all about making the adjustments. Do you think coaching is in trouble now? Because this is what the second, third playoff that's been breached.
I don't think Monte Williams is in trouble. He was coach of the year. You don't win 64 games for nothing. I don't think he's in trouble. But if you look down the line to maybe next year or the year after, if this keeps happening where they lose these 2-0 leads, then maybe it's time to get rid of him. But you're not going to get rid of a coach who won 64 games for you. I just don't see it. But of course, management can do other things and decide he's not the right coach. But I think he's the right coach for this team. He just needs to adjust better.
Right. Now tell me, what do you think the Suns will do next year? Give me a good tight wrap up. Give me some positivity. The pros and cons. The pros, we've already gone through the cons, so let's end it. Let's Oreo this baby.
I still see them being a top 4 seed in the West. I know the Nuggets are coming up. You have the Grizzlies. You still have Golden State, but they're still a top 4 team. They're going to be a top 4 team. They're going to have home court for at least 1 or 2 rounds. And if everything goes right, go to the Western Conference Finals.
Right. And who do you think they're going to end up going for? If you do this, I can't do this, but you're better than I am, to be honest. So who do you think they'll go for in the draft? What position? Is there a player you see?
Honestly, if they lose DeAndre Ayton, they need a center. I don't know what centers are out there, but I would have to say get a young center, somebody to fill his shoes. Even if he still comes back, you got to, have the next guy ready to go. They need a center. I would also want another power forward because Crowder didn't do it. And I said it last year, they didn't have a power forward. So I'm thinking you got to get a couple of down low guys, depending on what you do in free agency, because they're fine with point guard, small forward, and shooting guard.
Yeah. You're right. Well, Jordan, tell everybody where they can find you, sir.
You can find me at Sports Scoop One. I have a blog that I write Mondays through Thursdays with podcasts on Friday at sports-scoop.com. And of course, watch the Confidential, which is tomorrow night, every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Mountain Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And of course, Jen is part of it.
And how about that series sweep there?
It was pretty nice. I'll if I get home in time. I'm in Arizona. If I get home in time, I'll probably talk about the game I went to.
Yes, I'm excited to hear about it. All right. Well, Jordan, thank you so much. I hope you have a great evening, sir. And I know I will talk to you later on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed being on the NBA Carousel. Unfortunately, the Suns lost, and I am done.
Well, I will talk to you in the chat, I'm sure. All right. Well, Jordan, you have a great night, sir. And on to Blue Hawks 13, the one, the only, Mr. John Shearer. What's up, my friend?
Oh, it's heat time, baby. It's
know.
Tomorrow night's game 1. Your Celtics are going down.
They are? Because I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think so. The heat's going down. They're going to get ice cold.
I mean, we are the number 1 seed, and we, as the Sixers found out, we don't lose at home.
And as the other number 1 seed, the Nets, found out they do lose at home. So
the Nets, the Nets are 7 seed.
Oh, I thought they were number 1 at one point.
No,
I lied.
this year they're a 7 seed, which
I
obviously you
lied.
guys beat them, you swept them,
Yes.
but you're facing a different animal. The Sixers found that out the hard way.
Yeah, but I will say we are the king of threes right now. So, what do you?
Both of our teams shoot the 3 ball very well. We didn't shoot the 3 ball well against the Sixers, but that was the only reason the Sixers were actually in it, is because there were game 3 where I think it was game 3 or game 4. We shot 18% from 3. Game 4, and we were down by 3 at the end of the third quarter. So, a 3-point shooting team that shot 18% in the game from 3. If you shoot 30%, shoot a lot better than that, there's no way that team beats you. So, I mean, the Miami Heat are just so deep. The thing is with you guys don't have that star to carry you past us. That's the thing. Like, you got to hope Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown do it, because Marcus Smart's not going to score anything. Then you got to hope your bench beats us, which the Sixers found out the hard way, and I tried telling everybody the depth. Miami has the depth. Tyler Herro, when he comes off the bench, he's like a starter. So whenever he's coming in, your second rotation guys are coming in. Tyler Herro is a number 1 guy. He's a starter. And this is a guy you got to beat off the bench. You got to beat Duncan Robinson. You got to beat all kinds of starter quality guys. With your number 2s, you got to hope to beat them. That's while hoping to beat the Miami Heat's starting 5. I just don't see, like, Phoenix was the only team, in my opinion, that was deep enough to give Miami a dogfight. I don't see anybody else, even Golden State. I just don't see anybody having that kind of depth to run with Miami. I just don't. Like, I think this is Miami's title to win. And now that Phoenix is out, I think Miami should have a clear-cut path.
Yeah, I just feel like, and I don't know why I've been calling it all season. I think this is going to go to game 6. Is it game 6? I really do. I don't know that it'll go to game 7. We'll see.
You better hope it doesn't go to game 7.
Well, we've been winning.
It'll be in Miami.
Well, yeah, but it's really nice to cool down the city of Miami with ice water from Boston.
I mean, you did just see what happened to the other Boston team, right? You saw that, right? Because they went
how the Carolina,
Carolina packed them up and sent them home. So, Miami's going to do the same thing to your.
But that's
Boston
because it's Carolina. Carolina owns Boston.
Special
teams.
Place right here. Special place.
Come visit, John. Come visit.
One day I will.
No, I feel like that there's going to be a lot more depth and a lot more that y'all haven't seen yet. I think it's going to be a great playoff. I really do. I think that the fact that Celtics do have the hit record right now for the most 3-pointers in an NBA game 7. I mean, that's pretty hard to go in on. And beating the reigning champions, I mean, that's not for nothing. So
you're right. It's not for nothing. But, I mean, I said it all last year, and I said it going into this year. I said it was a fluke run by the Milwaukee Bucks. I gave them more credit than they deserved in this playoffs. I gave them the benefit of the doubt like I did the Suns. I shouldn't have done that, because I had been saying that was a fluke run by the Milwaukee Bucks last year. Every series that they had, they ran into somebody that was injured. Every series. You think about the Atlanta Hawks, you think about the Brooklyn Nets. Every series they had, they ran into at least one star that ended up getting injured, and the Bucks ended up kind of maneuvering their way through with that. I just didn't think that they were getting to the championship this year. I did think that they were beating you guys. I didn't.
Everybody did. Keep the haterade coming.
I didn't expect Giannis to just fall apart in Game 7. Like, that's not what Giannis does. But
it's not.
But also the starting cast, like the cast around him, did absolutely nothing. And I was thinking about this today. There's so many teams in this playoffs that have star-centered. The Bucks, they're so heavily reliant on Giannis. The Mavs are so heavily reliant on Luka that if their cast around them isn't superb, they don't win. And I know the Celtics and the Heat are different in that regard, where they're not built that way. They're built team-oriented. That's why, as I've said this many times, there's only 2 teams in the Eastern Conference this year that are both top 10 in offense and top 10 in defense. The Heat and the Celtics. They're in the Eastern Conference Finals. Wow, what a surprise.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like, they may not have the star power that the Bucks or the Mavs have, or, you know, or some of these other teams have, or the Sixers have, but they play team basketball. They play basketball the way it's meant to be played. They play with depth. They play with they're going to beat you with their entire roster. And yeah, that maybe that's not sexy basketball. Maybe that's not the Golden State way or
Right.
you know, James Harden and Joel Embiid way. But these two teams are in the Eastern Conference Finals, and the rest of the teams in the East, well, they're out. So
Exactly.
it seems to be working.
And what I've loved is the 76ers have owned essentially the Celtics for how many years? And this year that tide turned.
Yep.
It completely turned. And we're cut like Miami and Boston, we're pretty much even Stevens.
Yep.
So with our regular season games. So I think maybe we will end up in game 7. I'm thinking it'll be game 6 games. But sorry, I was about to put that on my brand new printer. But I think
don't do that.
No, don't. I might get yelled at. But I think it's going to be a tight game.
Is that a prediction for you in 6 or us in 6?
Us in 6.
You in 6. You think
Mhm.
you're going to Miami and win and stealing at least one game on our home court, which nobody does in the playoffs?
I do. I do think that.
That's the Sixers thought the same thing, and they went 0-4. They went 0 for 3. They never got to game 7 against us. They went 0 for 3.
With all due respect to the city of Philadelphia, a lot of things, egos are overinflated in Philly.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to knock it because
with
some
the
of
Eagles, the Sixers, all of it.
Yeah, exactly. And
I see Cole down there trying to rile them up.
I know, right? But sorry, Cole, we love you. But but I can totally see this being 6 games and us winning it because one thing, you guys have some power. I'm not going to lie, but the one thing we have that no other NBA team, I've been saying it all season long, power positivity, baby. Like, coach has done amazing with getting that. Like, you flip this team around that quickly, you get rid of Brad Stevens, or you promote Brad Stevens up, and you get a coach in there that's positive and can bring that locker room together. Since Marcus Smart went off on everybody, he won DPOY. The offense turned around. They became, like you said a few minutes ago, top 10 in the Eastern.
Yep.
We've had the number 1
top 10
defense.
in the NBA. They're the only 2 teams from the East.
Oh, that's right.
To have top 10 offense and top 10 defense throughout the entire NBA. That's not Eastern Conference stats.
That's all everywhere.
Throughout the entire NBA, only 2 Eastern Conference teams fall into that category, and that's the Heat and the Celtics.
And at one point, I know you guys had the number 1 in the East, and then for offense, and then we started trading back and forth.
Yep.
Winter, spring between you and I, our teams. So I think it's just going to be exciting because I think it'll. I do think the Bucks Celtics matchup was like one of the best series. I'm expecting to be surprised by because I don't know why don't get mad at me, John, because I love you personally, but I always kind of discount the Heat. I don't know why.
Everybody does, and that's
okay.
It's
the fans. It's the fans when they come to Charlotte. The fans are so rude. But I don't want to because
please discount us. Please count us out. Please tell us we can't do it. I mean, we went to the Sixers series, and how many people picked them? Right. And people already picking the Celtics. Please do.
And I don't want them picking the Celtics. Honestly.
2020, everybody picked against us, and we got to the finals. Yeah. I mean, we've been to the Eastern Conference Finals 8 times since 2005. 8 times.
Mm-hmm.
We've won 3 titles since 2006.
There's
nobody else. I mean, there's not many other teams that have this level of success since 06 and 05. Not many teams in the NBA have this kind of success. And everybody, I mean, every time they pick against Heat, that's fine. Please do. Because whenever we win this series and get back to the finals for the second time in 3 years, I'm sure there'll be more excuses. I'm sure Golden State will get there, and then it'll be, well, you can't beat Golden State. Sure. We have a Hall of Fame head coach right now, and nobody gives us credit for that. They just talk about your rookie head coach, your young head coach, whatever he is, Udoba, whatever his name is. They just talk about him. That's cute. We have a Hall of Fame coach that's been to the finals, 5 times?
Right.
Looking for his 6th finals appearance in like 12 years, but nobody talks about that. That's okay.
Because it's been talked about. But I think the reason why we're getting the talk is because it is his first year head coach. And he flipped that switch so quickly. That being said, I do wonder if there's an element of surprise in store for you guys. To be perfectly candid, I know there's elements of surprises in there for us. So, and the reason why I
if
can
your
tell
depth does not bring it, you will get blown out of the water when you play in Miami.
But one thing that I've noticed about us is whenever Robert Williams is out, the rest of the team rallies together more closely to make up for his absence, which really works. And like Hartford he's been off the hook, in this.
Yeah, I remember him, former Florida Gator. Yep. Yeah. I remember him.
And like, I know you said Marcus Smart's not going to do anything. Oh, he's going to do
offensively. Offensively.
Yeah. But I mean, he's only scoring like 11 points, I think, last game. So, I mean, I think we're going to have some. I think we're going to have some ups and downs. Like you said, we do need Jalen and Jason to step it up, and to make sure that they're still bringing their, 30 to 50 points per game to get this taken care of. And I can tell you off the record later on why I discount the Heat, because you'll be like, Jen, that's too. We were at a Heat Hornets playoff game, and somebody came up to my husband and I as we were walking through the concourse. It's when we had season tickets, and we were walking through the concourse, and this guy just started trying to put like his hands on my husband. And so when I think of Heat, that's
I don't call those people fans. People like that, regardless of what team they root for, I don't call them a fan, because that's not a real fan acting like that. That's
no, it's not.
You know what I mean? Like that's you ruin the game regardless of what team you root for. You ruin the game for everybody when you act like that. It's just like you take the fun out of what is supposed to be sports when you take it to that level, because it's like, okay, man, like this is a game. Seriously, like it doesn't matter if we're different fans. You don't put your hands in somebody else.
No, you don't.
Just because I wear something different than you. I'm wearing red. Are you going to come to PA and like clock me because I'm wearing a different color than you? No.
Right.
No, that's not how this works. And I don't call those people fans. I just call them like lunatics.
Love it. That's how I used to deal with the Cavaliers fans when LeBron was there. Well, John, tell everybody, because I know you have a list. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Obviously, BlueHawks13 on Twitter. Make sure you're subscribing to the Sideline Sports YouTube channel. Also, follow along with everywhere else that the people on our network. You can go to thesportsarena1.com. You can find all of the shows on there. You can find all the pages where you can find everything. It's not just about me or Eric or Jake or J.B., but it's about all these other great people on the Sideline Sports Network that do a fantastic job. Will Vogel, Cole McCain, Jen, Megan Price, the list goes on and on. We have so many people, and much like a football team, it's not just one person. You can't. There's a 53-man roster in football. Everybody on this roster, everybody on Sideline Sports matters. Everybody's equal. We're all a team. We're all on the same playing field, the same level. We all pull together. We win as a team. We're all a team here. We're all family here, not just a team. We're a family. So
exactly.
Much love to every single person that's part of this ship.
Yes, I agree. Thank you, John. I'm so glad you could come on tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good night. And I'll talk with you later. Bye. Hi. And now we bring in the one, the only Mr. William Vogel. What up, Will?
What up, Jen?
How are you, my friend?
Whew. I'm good.
Yeah, you're good? So tell me about the Grizzlies. What's going on there, my friend?
Well, game 4, they lost by 3. Tyus Jones had 19 points. Steven Adams had a double-double. Brooks had 12 points. Jaren Jackson Jr. had 21 points. Anderson had 17 points off the bench. Both teams shot horrible from 3. Both teams shot horrible from the free throw line. Besides, actually, both teams shot horrible from the fields. Free throws is what killed us because the Warriors hit 90%. We hit 60%. And they also rebounded us by 6. Game 5, on the other hand, we won by 39. I was shocked. I think everyone was. Bain, Jones, and Jackson all combined all had 21 points. Brooks had 12 points. Adams had 13 rebounds. Clark had 11 points off the bench. A lot of bench points. Grizzlies had a better three-point percentage, field goal percentage. Out-rebounded Golden State by 18, had 15 more assists, 9 more steals, and forced 12 more turnovers. And now on to the last game that shut the Grizzlies down. Game 6. Brooks had a great game. He had 30 points, but the problem is he took like 28 shots, which that's way too many. Desmond Bain had 20.
He needed to share the ball.
Exactly. Bain had 25 points. Jaren Jackson Jr. had 12 points. The Warriors out-rebounded the Grizzlies by 26. But, yeah, it was just – I knew it was going to either end in 5 or 6 once they lost Ja. But there is good news. The Grizzlies won executive Zach Kleiman won executive of the year. He's 33 years old, and he's the youngest executive to win executive of the year. But Game 6, Golden State just turned a different switch.
Yeah. Oh. Can you hold on 1 second? I'm sorry, Will. Okay, sorry, Will.
You're good.
Yeah, did the Warriors flip on a switch, or did they coast a little bit?
They coasted a little bit.
Because I'm like, you're looking at Steph Curry, like, he beat records this year.
Yeah,
like,
I'm going with crazy records. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's awesome that that the Grizzlies were able to stick with them as much as they could.
Yeah, and they had a positive record without Ja.
Right, exactly. And they did well without Ja, and that was important. I think that was very important team building for the Grizzlies. So, I mean, you need to go from there. Yeah, get my phone.
Exactly.
So, I think that there's just going to be a lot that goes on and a lot of good that happens. So, I don't know. What is your favorite takeaway from the Grizzlies season this year? Or at least postseason?
The emergence of Ja. Ja playing great. Ja playing how he was. I've been a Ja fan since he was at Murray State, and I knew he was a baller ever since coming out, getting drafted. I knew ever since college. I thought he was going to be something special. But, yeah, him and then Jaren Jackson Jr. playing really well, and the emergence of Desmond Bain. Like, it's a good young team.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree with you. And I think, I mean, I don't want to say Ja. I'll disagree with Ja because Ja's playing Ja game. Ja's
been balling out since
forever. Like since he was born.
Probably.
Or if not before, while he's in his mom's womb.
Probably.
But, because Ja's just that beast. He's that special beast in every good way and sense of that word. Like, he's amazing and awe-inspiring.
Yes.
I just think that the Warriors are the Warriors, you know?
Exactly.
Like, I don't like Draymond. Like, I've never hidden that fact. But the dude had, 15 rebounds, 8 assists, and 14 points yesterday.
Huge.
Humongous. I mean, double-double in playoffs. You didn't have that coming out of the Grizzlies. Yeah. We had Clay with, 30 points. We needed him to have 2 more rebounds to have a double-double. But still, like, I just think it's really cool.
Yeah.
So tell everybody where they can find you. You're going to be like, I'm crazy. Go ahead.
I was going to make a point on the Grizzlies.
Go for it.
Real quick.
Go for it.
And then I'll say my statement. The Grizzlies have 2 first-rounders, and they could potentially lose. I want them to re-sign Brandon Clark if possible. He's a really good piece off the bench. And if possible, it's going to be hard to get him back. But Tyus Jones had a great playoffs off the bench. And when Ja was injured, Tyus Jones stepped up as a bench or as a starter when Ja was hurt. So I would love to see those two back, and then 2 first-rounders. I would say I don't want Steven Adams back. I don't think he's good as he was in OKC. He was a good rebounder and could get double-doubles in OKC, but this guy just underperformed, didn't do really anything against Minnesota, barely did anything against Memphis. So I think you got to go with one of the picks. You got to go big man to help Jaren Jackson Jr. out
You do.
more.
Yeah. And I think that'll help them out a lot. I do think it'll take a lot to beat the Dubs even next year. But the Grizzlies are a fun team to watch and fun team to follow. Like, even when you and I were like chilling at Hornets games, like, we always talked about like the Grizzlies are kind of the quiet.
And I went to go see him this year, and I left at halftime because the Hornets were getting killed. But then the Hornets come back and win. Anyway, yeah.
Stop leaving games at halftime, William.
Meh.
Why not?
Yeah, so you guys can find me here on Monday nights during the NBA season. Next year, I will probably be covering strictly the Grizzlies and the Hornets. No more Jazz. Thursday nights, you can find me on the Sip-Off, hosted by Megan Price, Jahan Phillips, and Anthony Brown. Saturday nights, occasionally on the Gauntlet, and Sunday nights, Basket Bros.
Awesome. And yeah, this past Sunday night was fun on the Basket Bros.
Yes, it was. Thank you, Jen.
All right. Thanks, Will. Sorry I tried to hurry you off.
You're fine.
All right. I'll talk to you later, my friend.
Bye.
And now we bring in the one, the only, the champion, Cole McCain. What's up, my friend? How you be?
What's going on?
What's going on? Every time you say that, I want to sing the song. But I'm not baritone enough to.
Well, we know this is my last episode of the season. Giannis is the beast that he's supposed to be. Without Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday couldn't be consistent enough to help him, nor did the bench.
Right.
Grayson Allen faded away. No one else stepped up, and we were up 3-2, and we lost 4-3. So, I mean, if you can't win one of 2 games with one of the best 3 players in the NBA, I mean, I don't know what to say except for it is what it is. Boston was better than the version of Milwaukee they played in this series, and they won.
Yeah.
So Chris Middleton will be back next year. 2 out of 3 is not bad.
That is true. I was talking to Megan earlier. I said, I feel bad. I was like, I love Cole so much. I'm so excited about the Boston Celtics. But I said, I don't want to be like glowful or anything like that. But
don't feel bad because if we won, I would have been glowful. So don't feel bad.
I mean, I will say I've been calling it. Everybody's thought I was crazy, but it's the power.
Well,
I'm
no,
telling
actually,
you guys, it's the power of positivity.
A lot of people were on your side because of the Chris Middleton injury. A lot of people said we couldn't win because of Chris Middleton being out, and at the end of the day, they were right.
Well,
that was the difference in the series, and injuries happen, so you can't blame that. You went out there and won 3 games without him. You couldn't close it out, so now you'll sit at home and watch somebody else be champions.
That's true. However, I personally still think a lot of it had to do with power positivity, but that's just my thought because everybody people have been hurt all season long. So the Celtics got lucky in the injury, and that, with the exception of Robert Williams, we came back from injuries at the right time. Very similar to GSW. So
yeah,
we were
on the other end. We were on the other end. He went down with the MCL injury. He probably wasn't going to be able to make it back for the playoffs at all, honestly. You're hopeful. Yeah. Try to get a win.
So what do you think they can do next year to regain the championship? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, all Milwaukee really needs to do is shuffle out some of the pieces that can't step up in big games, bring in some pieces that can, on the bench. Obviously, Milton makes a big difference. When your second guy is there,
Some teams have the firepower to kind of have to live step up. Milwaukee's shown that they don't consistently. So, you always want to look for young guys that can score in a draft.
Mhm.
That's what they need. I've said for a couple of years, Lopez is getting old. So maybe drafting a young, big man that can put points in the bucket in the paint would be high priority for Milwaukee. I
Yeah.
think health, is another thing. You just got to be healthy at the right times. And that's, the teams that win are the teams that are healthy at the right times. And unfortunately, Milwaukee was not one this year, and we will be sitting at home with several other teams on the couch watching the playoff happen.
I mean, Milwaukee made it a lot further than my Hornets did. I'll say that.
For me, it is what it is. You either win or you lose.
Yeah.
There is
no in between.
Period victories.
Yeah. I feel you on that. So what do you think?
You go.
Huh? I'm sorry?
Oh, nothing. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, what do you think the biggest lesson that they could have learned was this past season? And then I know you said some of the young guys in the paint and all, but who do you think, or where do you think they need a draft? What position? And is there a player you want to see drafted?
It needs to be a center, a guy that, or a center or a big power forward, because you can kind of interchange those two positions. But a big man definitely that can score within the paint area. That's an area of need. Giannis can get it done, but when he's out a lot of times, we see a big lull in the paint. We don't see a lot of rebounding at times. Again, Lopez is getting old, so that's something that definitely needs to be replaced. I don't have a specific player in mind because they're picking later in the draft, and it's going to be outside of the lottery, so a lot of the better bigs are going to be gone at that point. But hopefully maybe somebody will drop to us, or maybe a gem from overseas will fall into Milwaukee's lap. But that's what they're going to need, whether they get it through free agency or the draft. They're going to have to update the second unit. Grayson Allen played really well until it counted, and then he didn't. Those kind of guys. Grayson. Yeah. So those kind of guys, they got to go. Boston's a great defensive team, don't get me wrong, but if you're in other series scoring 20-plus points a game and you can't give 10 to 15 points against Boston, then you don't need to be on Milwaukee. Maybe you need to go play for, the Lakers, somewhere where, you just throw a random shots and you get a big volume of shots and not make them there.
Well, and people forget that Boston actually has one of the best offenses in the league. Also, they didn't at the beginning of the season. They did not at the beginning of the season. They really brought it together. Like, I think you and I have discussed this before when Marcus Smart went off on everybody. Like, I think Marcus Smart, turned the, he helped coach, turned the, tide. And he really propelled everybody to go forward because you see Al Horford, who's always been a good, solid, steady player, step it up and play more, get more points since that lashing. You see Jason not have as many up and down games. You just see more consistency. And I think that people really forget that Boston does have one of the best offenses in the league as well. And that's something that can't be overlooked. So when you get a number one O and a number one D, or, top two, because it pretty much rotates between us and the Heat. John and I were just discussing that, but yeah. So
when Grant Williams has a big game as your third option, Giannis cannot make up for three players. If his teammates don't do the same, there's no way to win.
Absolutely,
and,
I agree.
That was the difference between the series.
And I will say, as the fan of a team that I have seen us rely way too heavy on one particular player, I understand that frustration all too well, because then when it goes down, Giannis is also going to be the one to get the blame.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that stinks because it's not fair, because there's 10 other men on that court at any given time. So, it's a team for a reason.
Yep.
I really think that this was probably the best series we're going to have. John thinks it's going to be us and the Heat. I think it was you and I, to be honest with you.
You mean to tell me that John Shearer, the Miami fan, thinks he's going to be part of the best series in the playoffs?
Yes.
Shocking. By the way, where's John been? I don't recall seeing John at all this season.
He has been doing a lot of other podcasts and doing other work with Sideline Sports.
But he was able to show up this week when they make it to the finals. All of a sudden. That work doesn't happen anymore, John. What's going on, man? Are we going to see you next week? Like, are you back, or was it just what's going on, man?
I'll let you two handle that conversation.
Just curious, all of a sudden John's here, so would love to see where John's been all this time.
Yeah. Well, and John, and I did mess up earlier because for some reason, I thought the Nuts were number one at one point in the league or in the playoffs. But John corrected me real quick on that. But I do think we're going to beat the Heat. I really do.
I think you're in a good position to beat them. No shade on either team. I don't do that. You lose, you lose. I think with your young players, you are dynamic enough. And I said, we both said before the series started that we felt like whoever won the series was going to win a championship, and you won the series. So, I don't see any reason to change that.
I don't either. I still think it. I really do.
Because the thing is, as long as you have someone in the middle when you get to Golden State, that's a place where you can, get points. Golden State's weakness is there if they're the ones that make it. If Dallas makes it, I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun playing against Dallas if they were to make it.
Yeah.
If Miami makes it by some strange twist of fate, I think they have a good chance as well because, again, they do have some big guys that can put in, and they have guys that go to the hole and get buckets. That's the weakness of Golden State. That's the weakness of Dallas. So the two teams left out west, they're going to have a good matchup because neither one of them have bigs that play big. They have big players, but they don't play big. They don't play in the paint much, except for Looney. And you only get him minimum amount of minutes. So I think this is going to be a series of a lot of bad jump shots. Whoever makes the most of the bad jump shots is going to win that series. I think for you guys, it's going to be more of a grinded down defensive battle. I don't think it's going to go 7 games. I think you guys will win in 6.
Hey, that's what I said.
Yeah.
No, and
But,
I agree with you
that's what I
because,
see.
I love it when I hear people say that we don't have any superstars on our team. Jason Tatum is now a household name. On top of that, the number one superstar in the league, LeBron James. Where's he at? Where's he been for a couple of weeks? Oh, yeah, that's right. Either in Maui on his couch or at home on his couch in California.
Well, I don't consider LeBron a number one player in the league anymore.
No, I don't either, but people equate him with that. So I just think that it'd be more fun to play the Mavs. I think that'd be a better finals, but that's just me. I'm not intimidated by the Dubs by any chance, stretch of the imagination.
You shouldn't be.
I know what Steph is worth. I know what he can do. I also know what Clay is worth, but I know what we're worth. And I know, I've been saying it all season long. You've been right there. You've heard me. I'm sure a few eyes have rolled. Power positivity. Coach has done that,
Yeah, you took a team that had a lot of talent, and you infused Udoka's personality. The team clearly started to respond to him.
Yes.
It took a while, which happens with a rookie head coach. A rookie head coach is not going to come in from day one and be the best version of themselves as a coach that they can be. Right. But it happened throughout the season. You saw them get better. A highly contested series. Unfortunately, we didn't come out on the winning end when it mattered. But you had the third person step up. We didn't have a second person step up, and you can't beat really good teams like Boston when those things happen.
Right.
And John, I am messing with you, but only a little bit because, again, this is the first time we've seen you all season, sir. If you can make 10 minutes tonight, where have you been?
We miss you, John. Well, Cole, tell everybody where they can find you.
So you can follow me on Twitter at Cool McCain. You can also follow the play callers at Real Play Callers on Twitter as well. On Wednesday nights, you can catch me. You just hop on YouTube, type in Eagles Elite Podcast, you'll see this space pop up and subscribe. And
No,
then on Thursday nights, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Are you going to start wearing the tux? Because I saw your picture on Facebook. Starting to stand.
That's just a little nibble for everybody, something a little different.
Sorry,
you're good. And then Thursday nights on the sip off, already talked about who hosts, so no need to repeat that again. Friday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, playcallsportstalk.com. I am half, along with my co-host at Box Talk Sports on Twitter, of the Tag Team Champs of Interactive Sports Talk.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you so much. It's been so much fun. And I just think you're a great guy. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate it, Jen. And next year, we'll be back.
We will see you in the playoffs next year.
Absolutely.
All right. Bye, my friend. All right. And now we get Mr. Joseph Jenkins. JB's in the house.
Boy, Cool was saying a lot of craziness just now, talking about Boston in 6. Draymond doesn't play big. That might be hurt because he beat the Nuggets, and that's how you feel in some kind of way.
Oh, it is going to be Boston in 6. Are you mistaken?
No, I have Boston in 7. I definitely think it's going 7 games, and I definitely do not think the Bucks and the Boston Celtics was the best matchup we'll see. I do agree with John Shire in thinking the Heat and the Celtics is going to be a better series than Boston. Cool, what's going on with your man? What's up with your boss? But that was a side note. What's up, Jen? How's it going?
What up, JJ? How are you, my friend?
I'm doing... Child, we don't even want to talk about it. I'm here.
Are you loving the new job?
Absolutely. I am very happy to feel like a normal person working 9 to 5. I feel I'm still getting used to the fact that, because up until I was working at the bank a couple of weeks ago, I worked every Sunday. I didn't have Sunday night off. So to still taking time to realize that when I get up, I'm off. But how are you doing?
I am good. I'm excited, actually. I love that my Celtics won. I love that the Cubs had a series sweep. I'm waiting for my team to re-sign my QB1 because it's going to happen. Like, it's just a matter of time. And I'm also ready to send our coach back to school. But I'm doing really well. I had a great work day. I've got some really good clients that I'm helping out. So, it's been all cool. All gravy, baby.
Now,
tell me a little bit about your Mavs. That was kind of surprising, don't you think?
Hello, we are the surprise of the playoffs this year. We are the surprise. No one thought we would make it this far. Even myself, I was a little down. But I have to congratulate it's a trickle-down effect. Much respect to Jason Kidd, because he is coaching his behind off, and he is adjusting to each game by making sure he puts his players in the right position. So, yeah, I'm excited. And what's already understood does not need to be said. And 2 words are Luka Doncic. That's all I got to say.
He was the leader. He had the points leader. He had the rebounds, assists. I mean, it was 35 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists.
He came out. He wanted it. He wanted it. He grabbed every board possible. He grabbed every shot that he could take that's available, and he made sure his players got involved. He and Giannis did the same thing. The only difference is his role players showed up.
Right. And y'all didn't have to play the Celtics.
And I think, it's funny that I mentioned this because it said the winner of the Bucks and Celtics was going to make the finals, and I too stand by that. Because while I could see why Phoenix may appear as a better team, I think chemically,
I'm like, what is he saying that I don't know? I'm going to go along with it.
I think as a cohesive group, Boston, with their 8 to 9 man rotation at the max, plays so much more of a higher level than teams that are deeper. And to be honest with you, if you look at the front, the top players on Phoenix to Boston, you could argue that Boston's core of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are more dynamic than Chris Paul and Devin Booker, mainly because this is definitely the later stages of Chris Paul's life.
Well,
And
Chris Paul has also blown 5 leads in the playoffs too in his career. Because there have been other players that have actually played longer than Chris Paul and have gone to the playoffs as starters. And so I don't want to bring age into it. I think that when that teenage boy, like touched his wife and mother, that messed with his psyche. And his mama needed to whoop his hide, and I hope he's banned from going to bounce games in the future, to be honest with you. Because you don't do that. You don't put hands on anyone, especially women, especially people you don't freaking know.
That's the golden rule right there. You don't touch anybody you don't know.
Because I don't know if you heard me or not, but I was telling John Shearer earlier, the reason why I literally block out the Miami Heat, because there was a Hornets Heat game once, and some dude, my husband and I were walking through the concourse, and some Heat player came up and he started putting hands on my husband, like just his arm around his shoulder and like nudging him a little bit, trying to be jovial. And I looked at him and I go, I'm going to step in between you two now. He goes, why? I was like, because my husband's about to knock your ass out. Oops.
Go to the game, enjoy the moment.
Exactly. Don't smack talk. Don't insult people. If you're lucky and fortunate enough to be on the floor, show respect.
Yeah, be happy that you are about 15 to 20 feet or within 100 feet of these players that you marvel and you see on the NBA live screen or on the big stages. Like, be happy. Like, when I went to – do I talk trash? Yes, but it's never out of ordinary. It's never nothing that they say, and I definitely PC it up because at the end of the day, I'm there to enjoy this stuff. I'm not there to be a heckler, and I've never understood that. And if I am being touched by any player, I'm asking for his autograph. That's it.
Right.
I'm not thinking about anything else. I don't want to go down. And I would think we were talking about, me and Megan were talking about this last week in the carousel. It took away from a great victory. It took away from a good big win for this team that was down 0-2 at the time. Like, it just does not sit well. But to your point about Chris Paul, that's why I give Jason Kidd a lot of credit. And Reggie Miller said it in the cast too, and we both noticed at the same time. Chris Paul is 37 or 36 years old right now. He had done, at this point of your career, you ideally do not want to go to 7 games. And the one thing that made LeBron, and I hate to bring it back to him because this is kind of where to go to, LeBron, when he got to the playoffs, his series very rarely ever went 7 games unless it was the finals. He had swept through his division within 4 or 5 games the first, 5 or 6 years after the age of 30. And so I think with Chris Paul, Jason Kidd saw how old he was, saw how tired he was, and they took it to him. And then on top of that, Mikal Bridges didn't show up. Devin Booker just went on back to old Devin Booker days of being careless and just trying to take over the game. And just Dallas just milked it up. We came in there and we played our game.
Right. And here's the thing. I like Devin Booker a lot. I think he's got skill. I think he's got talent. Not the biggest fan of Chris Paul. Don't know why. Just not. I'm not opposed to him. Just not a fan. But to your point, Michael Jordan never needed a game 7 either in a playoff. So,
And I hate to bring it up, but I do think he was a little gassed and not in the shape that he needs to be to make it down the stretch. Whereas, and that's normal because the older you get, the metabolism changes. But you're going against arguably the best player in the league, and he has cases. And Luka was in his bag yesterday. Luka was in his bag. He was thinking he smelt blood, and he knew it. And he told his team we were going to attack. And then my guy, and I wish he was a wizard. Oh, both of them actually. Jalen Brunson is one, but I'm going to talk about Spencer Dinwiddie. Showed up when you thought he wasn't going to show up, and he does what Spencer Dinwiddie does. He does it all season. He has a string of bad games, and then he comes right at the time to keep your team relevant and have a great game. And yesterday was that.
Yeah. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie is good. He's solid. Like, you don't really hear his name a lot, but he's solid. You should hear his name a lot more. Kind of like Horford and,
Horford.
Williams and,
Horford's an ideal vet. He's been on so many teams
Uh-huh.
deep runs, but he's never had the chance, I don't think, to ever play in the NBA Finals.
I don't know. Let me look that up real quick.
Like I think he's made it all the way to the Eastern, to the finals of like the conference, but I don't think he's ever made it all the way there.
You think this is okay? Amal, you think this is his first time because
I think this is the best chance to get to an NBA Finals.
Yeah, no. And he'll get a bonus of $17 million if we get it. So
he's a very important piece. He is
very important piece
of that team.
Mm-hmm.
He
really is. Well, so tell me, what part do you want to see the Mavs? Well, I've been asking everybody this, but you're still in it. So I've been asking everybody who's out. So, okay, what's your prediction for you guys versus the Dubs?
I want to say we can. Unbiasedly, I'm saying Dubs in 7, but I can't say that for sure just because Dallas, and it's weird because I didn't get this feeling. The last time I've had this feeling about Dallas wondering how far they can go, they went all the way and won in 2011. And I put a post on my page today. They handed this team one of the worst losses they've had in their entire history, and it came in a Game 7. And the last time they did something like this in the playoffs was the aging Los Angeles Lakers with Kobe Bryant, forced Phil Jackson to retirement, and then they faced an upstart OKC team and went all the way to win the finals against the Miami Heat. Now, the difference is this isn't an upstart OKC team that Dirk Nowitzki faced as being like the veteran presence of the pro. You're facing a championship pedigree, a championship caliber team who's been there so long.
Right.
The Warriors. So I think it could go 7. And I can honestly say if they make it to 7, 50-50 that they can win it all. I mean, win that series. But right now I think it's going to be Warriors in 7.
And you think it'll be the Celtics in 6?
Celtics in 7.
Oh, that's right. We disagree. I think it's the Celtics in 6. You say 7.
Yes, I think it's in 7 because I think there's advantages, but then there's other advantages that counter those advantages that one team has. And then the coaching, big ups to Udoka. He plays his game well. And you're going against Spo, top 5 coach, big fan. So.
Well, it'll be exciting. And your game is tomorrow night at 9:00 Eastern time. So, tomorrow night, right? The 18th. Oh, the 18th. So today's the 15th, 16th. Okay, sorry. Today's the 16th, tomorrow's 17th. So Wednesday night. Yep. And mine's going on now. My first game won.
There you go.
All right.
Love on that.
Well, JJ, tell everybody where they can find you.
On the NBA Carousel for another week or 2 at least, because the Mavs made it to the Western Conference Final. You can find me, which I'm hoping to be a lovely guest to the 3 Chicks in the Pod podcast. That happens Wednesday or?
It happens on Tuesday, but we may need to do it earlier or later tomorrow night. But so.
There you go. When the ladies have me on, I'll be in 3 Chicks in the Pod.
Yes, you will.
I'm looking for it. I did make an appearance on Sports Arena. I do that from time to time. Registered guest on the Sip Off. You already know we come to play. And then I'm looking forward to tapping on with Cool's show with Stephen Box on the Play Callers. And then you can find me as a co-host with James Tatum, Dom DeRubis, and Jay Nelson on the Gauntlet on Saturdays.
And you guys will have to bring me back on again sometime.
Bingo.
All right. Well, JJ, you have a great night, my friend, and I will talk to you later, okay?
You too. All right.
Thanks, honey. Bye. And last but not least, Mr. Steve Schwanda with his Golden State Warriors, whom I'll be seeing probably in the playoffs.
Well, hope so.
I hope so too. I will say this though, Steve. I do think the Mavs would be the fun surprise team to meet in the finals, but it is going to be us in the finals. You know that, right?
I mean, that's what I think will happen. That's what will happen. Lucas scares me.
I know, right? Luca's a beast, man. Luca's a beast.
Yeah, he scares me a little bit. So I do. I'll get it out of the way. I do think Warriors in 6, and I think Celtics in 6.
Thank you. I think Celtics in 6 too.
I'm with you, but yeah, I mean, Luka's good for at least one game himself, and then they'll have they don't do well. So that's all I'll say. Warriors.
Now, I do have to ask you one question about the Grizzlies games.
Yeah.
Why did we coast? I mean, what the heck? Like, seriously, like, I mean, I know Ja's good and all, but Ja's not going to be the one person to beat Clay and stuff. And should I go on Draymond and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, no disrespect, but the list could go on and on, right? So, why?
The only thing that I can think of, there's 2 reasons. There's only 2 that I can think of why. Number one, their owner was like, hey, I want another home playoff game. Why don't you guys go ahead and mail this one in so we can have a home playoff game and finish the series in 6 at home? Because literally how they, I mean, and here's the thing, because obviously it wasn't even close.
No.
So all their main stars played like 20 minutes. You know, I mean,
right.
Played 25 minutes, Clay 25, Poole 20, Wiggins, Draymond 22. So, I mean, they threw in the towel early. You know, it was the closest thing to load management in a playoff game I've ever seen in my life. No, we're just going to toss this one out. Like, we don't even, we want to do this at home. We're going to toss. That's one reason. The only other reason that I can think of is yours truly. Warriors 6 before the started with Golden State game 1, 3, 4, and 6, and they just wanted to make it right. So between that, you know, it was nice of them, but yeah, that was one of those things where just like, hey, what would happen if we just don't show up all at the same time? That's pretty
right.
But I will say, I think that was the best for it.
Say that again. The phone broke up a little bit, or the microphone.
The best thing that could happen to the Warriors, because I think Kerr was then able to their attention, of course, go back coach COVID protocol, which I think will help for no respect to my coach, but I think I saw that coach important when Kerr was so. I think got their attention because I think Steph, Clay, and Draymond last week, it's kind of the perfect storm for Golden State. It's by far their best chance to get the title. You have with Middleton, obviously. Obviously, Ja got hurt. Tons of other injuries. Booker's had to come back. So things just are kind of aligning for the Warriors this year. That they're going to take
the audio just went out there. I'm so sorry, I couldn't hear it.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay, try again. Okay, I hear you laugh now. Yay.
Yeah. Okay. Good. But yeah, I just think Golden State knows that this is kind of their best chance. No question. Memphis is
right,
young and they're coming. They're only going to get better. Alice is only going to get better because Luka's only going to get better. So this is definitely, you know, and we'll see what Phoenix does to retool. But yeah, I think Golden State, they know that this is their chance this year. So I think they are motivated, and I think you see a different Golden State team in the Western Final. I think when Ja got hurt, they coasted a little bit, thinking like, got this,
Mhm.
guys out, we got this, and you're not going to be able to go with Luka. You're going to need to bring your A game. So, and it's an every other series. It's Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday. So you got every other other game. No 3 days off like they had randomly before games.
Right.
Like last series. So,
I know. For some reason, it was kind of frustrating because I was trying to follow the schedule, and I was like, "Who's playing what?" I don't know. It was kind of a disconcerting schedule at the beginning.
Yeah, it was. I hate like Monday's game 1 and Wednesday's game 2, and then game 3 is Sunday. You're like, whoa! Like, but so
Right.
it's much. This is a much better series. Just Wednesday, Friday. So when we talk next week, we'll be day before 4, so we'll have a pretty good because they got Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Then Tuesday.
Yep.
So we'll be right before game 4 next week. So we'll have a lot to talk about. Both up to 1 when we talk again. But
No,
it's just.
do you think there'll be a sweep at all? Do you
No.
think the Dubs could? Okay.
I don't think so. If at best it's 5 games because Luka's at least good for 1. So
Yeah.
I think at best they win in 5, they win in 7, and obviously Dallas can win the series. I'm not going to just no way that Dallas will win the series, but I'm fairly confident that Golden State will be ready.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to be joke around here, but Steph wins, the series that while he's graduating from college. So, pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I will say that's a Carolina boy for you, though.
Oh. Davidson. Oh, that was. I got to see him play when they were at Ford Field against Wisconsin in the Sweet 16. Man, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Davidson was there. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, he was pretty stellar there. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Yeah, he's all right.
All right.
But I love that Davidson was like, no, for us to retire your jersey, you actually have to graduate.
Yeah.
So that's prioritizing academics over athletics. But UNC Chapel Hill's the same way. Well, they don't force them to retire, but every retired jersey has graduated.
Yeah.
So if it's forced, it's not publicly known, but like on the side, like, hey, you want this, you gotta graduate. I don't know, but
I didn't know that you're a big Heels fan. I should know that.
Yeah. So when I was 3, I wanted to be a Duke fan to annoy my brother, but then I started losing respect for Duke like quickly as I understood sports.
Yeah.
And I always was brought up with an appreciation of Dean. And Carolina football, even though there's only like 3 coaches I can remember, but like my uncle's also on like he's a big dude on the boosters. So yeah, like
greatest defensive player of all time played there. So I mean, you got that going for you. So.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
And we have Grayson Allen from Duke. So what can I say? Now you know why I wanted to annoy my brother when I was 3, and a couple of years later, I changed my mind.
Yeah, I was out in North Carolina for work a couple of years ago, and I tried to go, but I couldn't because they were setting up for graduation, right?
Oh,
but they have the basketball museum Hall of Fame thing right next to free to walk through. That's really cool.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing. Cameron was wide open. I was shocked. The floor wasn't, but I literally could walk right into Cameron.
Really? That's surprising.
Yeah. Took a picture right at center court of Cameron.
That's cool. I'm surprised they're that.
The door's just unlocked. Okay, I'll just walk in to help myself.
But that's really surprising, actually.
Yeah, no, I was stunned.
Yeah. Well, so who do you think is going to win the Heat Celtics series?
I'm with you, Jen. I'll go Boston in 6. Give me Jason Tatum. I mean, I don't want to totally discredit the Heat. Obviously, Jimmy Butler's a bad dude, and they have some nice players that played their role to perfection. But I think Tatum is going to get the job done. Him and Brown, I think is just too good of a 1-2 punch. So I do think Boston's going to win that series in 6. But I guess I could see the Heat winning. But yeah, I gotta go with Beantown. So.
Yeah. I really do too. And it's not just because I'm the rep, but like, honestly, I don't like Miami. I feel bad. Like, but I explained my reasoning to John. It's sound, it's valid, similar to my not like Miami is the NBA version of Duke to me.
At least, but you do. You at least have a good reason. You don't just hate it.
Yeah, exactly. For me, a lot of the like game experience and everything else has to do with the fans and the opposing team fans. Because like people will be like, "You don't have a problem with Tampa Bay Bucks?" And I'm like, "No, not really." Like they've always played straight games. Their fans have always been legit and straight up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's how I am. Like I don't like the any of the Atlanta teams because NBA or NFL because their fans are rude. Like there's just no other word, rude. And that's how I see Miami. But so and you think it's going to take 6 for you guys to win also, right?
Yeah. I think I could see him winning 5, but no, I think 6. I think it's good for one game by himself. I do think they'll.
Refresh my memory. Do the Mavs have any injuries right now, or are they like us?
No, they're relatively healthy. I mean, obviously, basically Luka and friends, but
yeah.
I mean, they're relatively healthy. But again, this time of year, you want teams. You don't want to have an asterisk. That's the thing. Memphis,
right? You don't.
Because Ja got hurt, but so they can believe that the series would be different if Ja didn't get hurt. So you want to be at full strength, and Luka's going to get hit. There's no question about that. But I think that trying to outscore Golden State, have Luka can score 35, but Clay, Steph, and Poole they're going to score more than 30.
They'll score 30 in the first 10 minutes.
It won't be like last night where Luka has more points than the opposing team at halftime.
Right. That was craziness. Good God. Like the Suns were held to 10 in the second quarter. Ridiculousness.
Unreal.
Shocking.
It was.
They need to be spanked. They just need to be spanked. That second quarter was abysmal. Someone was saying, I guess in a regular season it's okay. And I'm like, I don't even think the 76ers, when they were rebuilding a couple of years ago and were tanking intentionally, had as low as 10 in one quarter. That was what I thought.
Teams are trying to lose. They score more than 10 points.
Right. Oh yeah, that was just what I thought. I'll say that to you and everybody else who's still watching. Well, Steve, tell everybody where they can find you. I know you'll be here next week too.
Yes, I will be here next week as talking about the first series. And which starts Wednesday. Looking forward to that. Here on the NBA Carousel, talking about the Warriors. When I stay up past my bedtime for confidential,
I'm right there with you.
There's been some talk of hoping going off soon. A little jealous of JJ that he gets to join 3 chicks in a pod. That's kind of.
We'll have you on too. Don't worry, Steve. You'll be on.
Good.
We've already discussed who we want on. You were on the list.
Yes, awesome. And then of course you can find me on Twitter at All Eyes on You Hoops. The letter U. All Eyes on You Hoops on Twitter. Hit me up anytime.
All right, sounds good. Thanks so much, Steve. I hope you have a great night, sir.
You too.
Thanks. Bye. And thank you. That is it for the NBA Carousel. But I would like to remind everyone that the NBA Carousel is a Sideline Sports Network production, proudly sponsored by Score No Score app, which is available for download in the Apple and Google Play Store. We're also sponsored by Manscaped, and check out the Nscriber online magazine where you can get all of your cultural, technology, and sports news provided by Sideline Sports. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great night. Bye.